just for the fun of it.
From the top.
From the top. It's sending data. I'm going to check in on it over on the... Oh, yeah, we're good. Yeah, it's showing up.
The tubes of view.
The tubes of view are doing it. Okay, great.
Excellent.
Our friends might need just a minute, to find us. But
Well,
hey,
sure.
if you're listening, if you can hear our voice, you probably want to, head on over to the YouTube channel and give this episode a like, even before we're finished, because you're going to love it.
Right?
So why
I mean,
not?
it's about hero points. It's going to be great.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a classic topic. Before we crack it open, like we said, this is Ahpook gave us this topic idea at one of our favorite times of year, which is the idea time. It's our show where we get together with the community and we plan out all our episodes, and this popped up. But before we get into it, I want to point your attention to the astonishing adventure right there on your screen. It's Return of Shadow. Now, this has a little bit of history, right?
It does. Technically speaking, it's the return of Shadow. Because this adventure was first published in the Agents of Freedom source book for 2nd edition Mutants Masterminds, and is now back in a newly updated form for 3rd edition.
Nice. Oh, look at everybody's just rolled in. We got Squires here, Dramador. Good to see you, Dramador. One of my faves.
Welcome
one of my
back.
fave heroes out there in the world, streaming over there at the Masks and Mayhem. Some Good Soup says, hello, I just woke up and I missed last week. Okay.
Wow. Sleeping through a week.
Back.
That's my dream, really.
What are you, Rumpelstiltskin? Is that right?
Honestly, I could use that. I could use that much right now.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, everybody could use a little Rumpelstiltskin. Squire says, hey, Dramadork and Some Good Soup. Squire's one of the most friendly friends that we got.
Yes.
That we got running.
Squire's pretty grand.
Yeah. And let's see.
Mastermind Ahpook is omnipresent, coming to us from Discord and from YouTube.
Yeah, we broadcast right into the heart of the Discord.
And apparently we have a fake stream page where everyone else is.
A fake stream page where everyone else is.
Tell us more, Ahpook.
Is someone trying to steal? I do mean Rip Van Winkle, Dramadork. You're absolutely right.
Yes.
So here's the thing. While I go investigate what a fake stream means, go to that QR code, head on over to the Green Ronin online store. You've been there before. You know where it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's right here at this link. And pick it up. You can pick up this digital, this revitalized digital.
Yes.
Remastered. Well, I mean, I wouldn't remastered, I guess, sort of.
It has kind of been remastered, actually.
Oh, nice. Okay, good.
Yeah, that is sort of how that works.
I like it when my turn of phrase isn't a lie. But head on over there. You know how much it is? $5.99. $5.99.
As I recollect, this fine adventure also comes with 6 power level 6 agent archetypes.
Oh, nice!
That you can use to run it.
Very cool. I'm looking at it now, but really, what I need to do is go over to the YouTubes and find out. Yeah, the fake stream page is a scene, man. The joint is jumping. Huh. I wonder why it's done such a thing to us.
I know.
What have we done to deserve this kind of shenanigan? I'm going to.
How curious.
Steve, would you mind? Steve and Alex, would you mind vamping on this just a moment while I go over there and tinker?
Not at all.
So, hi everybody. Welcome to the show.
So glad you enjoyed your way here.
I was hoping you'd talk about the Return of
the
Shadow.
Adventure. Yes, we will. So, Return of Shadow as I mentioned, was originally written by the late great Scott Benny for his work on the Agents of Freedom sourcebook for second edition Mutants and Masterminds. And Agents of Freedom was an agent level source book for playing characters, usually in the power level 6 to 8 range, who don't have the amazing powers that most superhero characters do. And this adventure is designed for a group of Aegis agents operating in Freedom City who are assigned on a fairly routine protection detail, but discover that there is, of course, a much deeper and darker plot behind the threat to the Freedom City political figure they are protecting, and leads to a much bigger threat. As I mentioned, this adventure has we updated the agent archetypes from Agents of Freedom as well as the adventure, and included them so you have some examples of some power level 6 agent characters to play in the adventure or to build your own, so far as that goes. And it also comes with a pretty cool map for the final encounters of the adventure. That is also a pretty useful resource. King Snarf, I am a huge Scott Benny fan. I loved his work. I loved working with him. He absolutely nailed the Terminus stuff for Worlds of Freedom. I gave Scott a lot of creative leeway on that chapter because if you're working with Scott Benny, that's what you do. And he just knocked it out of the park. It was really terrific. I miss him a lot. He was great to work with. So I'm really glad that we can begin updating some of his great contributions to Mutants and Masterminds and make it available as far as that goes. No, Gene, we have not updated all of Agents of Freedom as yet. That may be a possibility sometime down the road, but right now it's just the adventure.
Absolutely. And, grab that QR code, friends, do the thing, click on the link in chat, and then because I want to be able to show you the faces of our stalwart
Hello,
developers,
everybody.
Alex Thomas, Steve Kinson, and of course I'm Disembodied Troy hanging out here as a fine mist that smells vaguely of chicken broth. I don't know why, but that's what you do. I did that for Alex. Actually, I was waiting for
What a terrible mist!
Face.
What a terrible mist! Miss me with that mist.
What a terrible mist! If only that were the first time I've heard that. So, look at everybody here. Yeah. So this is it is one thing I do love about the Mutants Masterminds community is that we love people who make contributions and the creative effort and all that, and it's just I'm personally touched when you think about that people who have contributed to Mutants Mastermind have a legacy, and
yeah,
it's lovely.
Oh, yeah.
It's a lovely thing to see.
Indeed.
So, Doc Voight says, "Oh shoot, I completely forgot this was tonight, and I have dinner plans. Dang it! Where are you eating?"
Sorry, Doc. Have a good dinner, though.
Yeah, absolutely. But I'm wondering what. Well, I guess it is sort of 6 somewhere else.
It is somewhere. It's always 6 o'clock somewhere, Troy.
It's true.
It's okay. He hates Superman. We don't need him around here.
Right. All right. Well, that means this. Yeah, Superman will come since Doc Voight's gone. Right. That's his his alias or whatever. Let's see what else we got. Hey, Bob Shoes here. Raymond Stegman. Paul is here. The fake paging. Thank you. 5.99 pennies plus tax. That is true. Thank you, Nate Squire. Who else do we got? Imaginative Media. Oh, hero points to everybody for surviving Monday. Nice.
That seems only fair. Monday is basically a pretty big complication.
Absolutely. And even
surviving Monday so far.
Monday tried to keep everybody, tried to shunt everybody into a mystery stream. So, we won because they're all here now. Love that. King Starf, hello. Who else we got? Valken, good to see you too. Warren Maximus says aerosol gravy. We do love A good gravy mist.
which was reduced to Spravy by Ahpook.
Gravy. I love a
It's
good.
my new least favorite word.
Yep.
I think that we should.
Now
I think we should
available
do
in the refrigerated case.
right. I think we should. I love that. A Spravy. Yeah, let's get
Shake
together.
well before using.
You know what I think? I think we've got a little spin on Shark Tank coming. We're gonna debut Spravy. We'll call it.
Already out.
The company will be Uncle Alex. Uncle Alex's Spravy. I love it. I love it. Ask for it by name. Good for you, Drama Dork. Excellent. Okay, so I love a hero point. It is when I learned about it, I still didn't quite wrap my mind around it until I saw it in action. And then I also saw how generously hero points make their way to the players. And I thought, well, that's going to ruin the game. And by gum, it does not. It does not ruin the game. It really lends a. They are really running with this gravy. I'm so sorry.
They're not going to let go of that anytime soon.
I was looking at Alex's face. It looks like he caught a little.
Don't look, Alex. Don't
little
look.
spray. A little spray of Spravy.
I'm just picturing the Kevin Hart commercial that King Snarf's proposed.
This is
Kevin Hart. One of those situations where having a vivid imagination is a drawback.
I know, and our community is just lousy with vivid. Yeah, absolutely. So, I do have this question: when did hero points kind of enter into your brain? Like, what was the? Was there something else? Was it sort of like, friend points or something, and then this developed, or where did it come from?
Well, I had, in various other RPGs, experienced similar mechanics. There are lots of games going all the way back to the James Bond RPG in 1983, which I think is one of the first games that actually had hero points and actually called them hero points. There have been lots of different game resources that players can use to influence how their characters do in game. And so I'd had experience with a lot of those in one form or another. And when I was initially designing M&M, one of the things that I wanted to take into account was that, sort of heroic determinism, the heroic quality that characters use to, never give up and make sure they succeed and all of that. And it also played out well in terms of the D20 is kind of swingy and unpredictable. So hero points take some of the sting of that out. So that if you really do want your character to do well and you end up rolling a 2, you have an out. You have an option so far as that goes. I tend to encourage players when the stakes are low to embrace those failures and make some fun out of them. But when the chips are down and you really need to succeed and you roll poorly, that's just no fun for anybody. So I like to have that option for players to pull out a potential win, and thus hero points, at least in their initial concept, formed, and then as we played around with Mutants and Masterminds more, we put together lots of various things you can do with hero points.
Now, when we determined, we being you, how the hero points would function, do they function? Because I remember playing some games like James Bond, and some folks mentioned Buffy, and some others that use that same kind of a deal. Are the rewards or the mechanics fairly similar to the way we use hero points in Mutants Masterminds, or is that different in some way?
Relatively. I mean, different games have different uses for those kinds of points, and M&M has its own particular list. Most of them commonly focus on some kind of success mechanic, but there are various other kinds of uses. and it varies. Certainly, Eminem's list was inspired by lots of other game experiences.
Got it. Nice. Well, I love that. I did not know, and I think I would have forever said no, we're the only one, and gotten into fistfights at Gen Con over it. But it's good to know.
The reason you
Okay.
can get into a fist fight is because the hero point is the best player currency of all time.
Yes.
Every
Yes.
other player currency is lacking in several various ways.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So let us imagine that everybody, our audience here, none of them have heard of a hero point.
Okay,
Let's lay it out.
Alex, you want to kick it off?
Well, at the beginning of all of my actual play streams, I tell people that Mutants Masterminds uses a mechanic called hero points, which is a player-facing currency that allows them to influence the story in fun and creative ways to incorporate the group storytelling and to make their characters more epic and bombastic. They can be used if you're not satisfied with a dice roll, you can re-roll it. But the cool thing is you're guaranteed to get 11 to 20 on a hero point re-roll, so it's never going to suck when you spend it. And we'll talk about the other things that you can do with it, but I give a brief list of what you can do with hero points. And then I say that hero points are earned by leaning into genre tropes, by acting heroically, good role playing, jokes I think are funny, jokes I think aren't funny, and for suffering setbacks, just like superheroes and other forms of media.
Yeah, it is so fun to see when Alex will hand out, for a pun or somebody saying something, really stupid, which is, I've gotten a few of those myself. But it's a fun dynamic. You're not expecting it, and you're like, Alex just says, yeah, take a hero point for that, and you're like, yes, or oh man, sorry.
That's why I specify it's for jokes I think are funny and not funny, so nobody gets a big head.
Right.
I like it, yeah, because it could be a warning almost. Awesome. Okay, so do we want to get into the nitty gritty of it? Like, just so we
Sure.
kind of okay.
All right. So in the Eminem rules, there are basically 6 primary uses for hero points, and I would ask, if people can name all 6 without looking. But our first, and I'm just going through them in order, basically. But so the first one is edit scene, which is actually one of the more complicated uses of hero points.
That blew my
And
mind, honestly.
and also kind of our squishiest sort of use. And this basically is just the mechanic that gives a certain amount of narrative control into the hands of the players to add detail to the scene that's happening that is beneficial to their characters in some way or another. Like, is there an electrical junction box in this hallway? Sort of questions, sort of loaded questions that players ask the GM, where the player can slide a hero point across the table and make the answer to that yes. What do you have in mind?
That's what I love about it, is that it is like the player's doing that, like that look a player gets when they're like, what about this? Is this here?
Is this a thing? Is there a fire hose nearby? Not, just out of curiosity. Not that I, have a particular reason for that.
I don't have a plan.
And so edit scene is basically just a convenient exchange that encourages players to do that kind of editing and gives the game master a good reason to say yes to it sometimes when the players have the hero points. And that way the GM doesn't have to feel compelled to say yes to that all the time, as far as that goes.
Yeah.
And edit scene is really as flexible as you and your GM want to make it, so far as that goes, including changing out details in the scene, who happens to be present in a crowd, what sorts of features the environment has, what the heroes have in their pockets, all of that sort of a thing.
Maybe a past relationship with an NPC that nobody knew about.
Yep. They're great for the sort of I know a guy factor.
Now, have either of you ever experienced a rewrite of a scene that made you go, no, we're not doing that?
Once or twice.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I've never seen it happen. I've always, at first, was really, just because I'm a community manager and you give over, the opportunity for someone to do something bombastic, and they will,
My basic rule of thumb is not to contradict anything. It's the improv rule, not to contradict anything that's come before, and build on it. So I've occasionally gotten suggested edits that I'm like, yeah, that isn't really what's happening here. So that doesn't really fit. But we try to come up with an alternative that works.
Yeah, I think the only time I've had to deny something is because I knew the player had bad intentions.
Yeah, there's that too.
See, because I was just thinking to myself, what? Can you just use the hero point just at any point in time and say, hey, I'm going to rewrite the scene, just kind of interject it in the middle of a thing?
Yeah, I do allow that. And Ahpook, I do actually allow the I packed my anti-shark spray use of a hero point. I don't guarantee it's going to work as far as that goes, but you're welcome to try.
It might be a pro shark spray, and you'll end up with
as game masters like to say.
Not pro shark spray. That's just fake blood,
right?
Yeah, pretty much. I love this. What's Tatsu? Oh, I see. It's a Discord thing. Congratulations, Ahpook. You leveled up to from 71 to 72. I love that. Hearts for bat anti-shark spray. Yes, indeed. Yes, right.
So the next use of hero points is his heroic feats. And this is sort of the name is sort of a throwback back to when Mutants and Masterminds, based on the D20 rules, actually had feats. That's what they used to be called. We now call them advantages. But you can spend a hero point to use an advantage that you don't normally have. There are a lot of advantages in the game. They do a lot of fun things, and most characters are not going to have a lot of them. Even the characters based on advantages aren't going to have all of them because there are a lot. So occasionally there's those moments where a particular advantage would be super useful, and nobody's got it. So you can spend a hero point, pick it up for one use, and do the thing with it. It's great for those one-time tricks or benefits that heroes get.
I love that. That is not one that I was familiar with.
Yep. It's not one of the widely known ones. It's not something that folks use a lot because it's kind of situation specific. You need to know a particular advantage, and you need to know you need it at that particular time. I think it's often handy as a player to have a short wish list of advantages that you think are potentially useful for your character that you don't have on your character sheet as things you've bought with PowerPoints. Just to know that you can do those. You could go through the advantage list anytime, but I think having a go-to list of advantages is helpful for heroic feats.
Yeah. It sort of falls into the realm of system, at least not system mastery necessarily, but
system knowledge. Yeah.
Sorry.
Just being able to rely on combat maneuvers that way is a good shorthand. If you're a character who you don't think would typically have things like all-out attack, maybe you lose it for a minute. You spend a hero point to get the advantage based on what's happening in the story.
Yeah.
Spravy is taking on a whole new life of its own.
Spravy's got lore.
Spravy's got,
right.
got some serious.
You don't let something like that out of the can without expecting it to get everywhere.
Right.
Truth.
And it certainly doesn't go back into the can the way it came out.
You cannot unspravy the Spravy.
And as King Snarf notes, yes, some advantages, like the fortune advantages, are specifically excluded from heroic feats.
Now, Nate, are you having a little show within a show? Is that what we're doing here? I'm not quite sure. I'm tracking, but I see. Okay.
Just reasons to award hero points.
I like it. Embracing the genre tropes. Okay, great. Okay, I see what you're
doing.
Squire
mentions we don't have feet anymore, and that's because M&M 3E was developed by Rob Liefeld. We never talked about it before now.
That's right.
Love it. Good one. You get a viewer point. Smart Alec. That's funny. I like it. Also, some advantages like fortune advantages are excluded.
Indeed.
Okay, what other advantages are excluded?
Just the fortune advantages, actually.
Gotcha. Okay, good. Let's see. I was looking for the fine print, but
Nope,
yeah,
just those, pretty much.
I like it. Let's see. So I want to. Hey, Ahpook, would you do me a favor? Would you share your Ahpook? I always like to consult with our idea holders, with the people
Mhm.
that kind of the brains of this operation, and that would be our chat. God save us all. And Ahpook, you had shared with me sort of a write up of when you like to use hero points, and as really honestly, now that I think about it, Ahpook was my first M&M GM.
Mm.
Now that I think about it, I think
So
that's right.
also your introduction to hero points.
That's right. Absolutely. So, look at this. How the worm is turned or something, let's see. Batrock is scandalized by the lack of feats.
Mm.
Sacred Pied. Looking at here. Rule of thumb, if an advantage requires a hero point to activate, you
Yep.
can't use that as a heroic feat.
Correct.
Got you. Okay, so what are some other things that people should know about hero points?
So the third use of hero points is by far the most common and most popular, and that is the improve roll use, which, as Alex said, it not only gives you a chance to get out of a bad roll, but also guarantees a certain minimum level of success in the process. One of the things that we very quickly learned in playtesting M&M and using hero points was that the reroll was definitely not good if the reroll was bad, and that was not a good experience for the players. Of
No.
I rolled a 3. I'm going to spend my hero point and reroll, and I got a 4.
Oh yeah.
That was not a fun experience. That was not a satisfactory use of that resource. So
Yeah.
hero points in the current edition of M&M have a floor. Basically, they have a minimum result that you can get with them.
Which I love. And I also think too, when people they will forget they get that bonus,
Mm-hmm.
and then they'll roll. They'll be like, "Oh, I did that," and Alex will always
Yes.
say, "You got the bonus." And
But
I'll be like, "Whew, yeah."
My players always save one hero point. They call it the "Please don't kill me" hero point.
that's wise.
Drama dork. I've been on streams with these characters, but that is interesting. As GMs and as players, as you have played Mutants Masterminds, I am curious to hear what is your favorite moment where you were awarded, maybe something anecdotal about your experience, and I'm just curious to kind of see what you think when you look back on your history. Okay, great. Well, look at that. Yeah.
Rebel Moose points out that when his players use hero improve roll, asking them to describe basically how their hero is sort of snatching victory from the jaws of defeat.
I love that.
And
Yeah.
I like that added bit.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, absolutely. I absolutely love that. And I find that, Alex, to talk about your style is you definitely want to engage the player in their experiences, and you will say, well, tell me how that happened. And people that'll stun them for a minute. And then it just makes the whole thing so much more immersive, especially when someone breaks the seal on that being really role play-y about a thing.
It's so fun to see.
Yeah.
I also like sometimes to explain what actual horrible thing happened to them in the alternate timeline before the hero point brought them back to safety.
Right.
Had you not spent this hero point, this is what would have happened.
Right. I love that. Yeah, and so if you are watching or listening on demand, take a minute to check out the live chat. I usually caution against it, but there's some great stuff in here, hints and tips and things, and stories and stuff. John asks, what about non-combat, non-skill challenge uses for hero points?
Well, a number of the uses that we are talking about and will be talking about can be used out of combat. And the improve roll use of hero points can affect pretty much any, in fact, it's specifically any roll the player makes themselves. So that can include all of their non-combat uses of skills or the various other checks they might make in the game, including investigations, interactions, all kinds of other things. In fact, one of the particular reasons why players roll resistance checks rather than rolling an effect check is it makes it so you can spend hero points on them because they're rolls that the players make rather than rolls that other characters make.
Very cool.
Because there was originally a notion that instead of resistance checks, you'd have an opposed, action or effect check, but we didn't go with that because of the way hero points work.
I do like this little note Ahpook was talking about, saying, how did that look on the page of the comic to kind of evoke that space and get you I get the person so they're not just stunned like, oh, I don't know what can I do, and so kind of couching it in the context of a comic book I think is great.
Yeah, asking M players to think in terms of comic visuals is always a good one.
Yeah, absolutely. King Snarf says, to make a toughness save, I'll spend a hero point to make it work. The GM makes a roll, and natural one. The table erupts, and the GM rules that I get my hero point back for the scene. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. So, do either of you have memorable moments of awarding somebody a hero point?
Oh, all the time.
I do.
They're always
like
all. I mean, that's the reason. Okay, when Centuria became the Banana Queen, I did give her a hero point for humoring me and not re-rolling her natural one with a hero point.
Yeah.
The Banana Queen. I love that.
Sometimes hero points are, I'm sorry, but, response from the GM, and that is intentional in that sometimes, the GM is supposed to hand out hero points to take the sting out of something bad that's about to happen to your character.
Right. That I do recall Alex at one point saying everybody gets a hero point before we knew that something else was gonna ensue, which we.
And I'll specify if it's for a nefarious or non-nefarious purpose. People,
right? That's only
people
fair.
are so quick to be afraid, and I'm like, no, it's fine.
Now,
maybe I just like all the role playing you guys have been doing for the last hour, and I wanted to acknowledge that.
Right.
Mm-hmm. You have a way. You have a way of presenting even a hero point with just a light dusting, a light misting of dread, much like Spravey. Now available in
chicken stock,
right?
Chicken, beef, and I don't know. Biscuit,
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
Dramaturg says, I definitely hoard hero points for bad things. Now, meaning for bad things that happen. And, that's kind of indicative of, sort of when you have a passel of a pouch of hero points, we really
mm-hmm.
encourage people to use them, right?
Mm-hmm.
You do. And that's part of the reason why you try and keep the hero points flowing at the table so the players don't feel that they have to hoard them. And one of the reasons I noted folks mentioned earlier, a lot of games often use the same resource that you use for a version of hero points for character advancement. Where you'll spend those points at the end of the game to improve your character. And I had very negative experiences with that mechanic in various games because it did encourage players to hoard those points.
Yeah.
Because otherwise they wouldn't have much character advancement at the end of the game. So they were always in a sort of scarcity mindset of, oh, I'm burning up my character advancement by using these points. Which is why hero points and MM don't work that way.
So one of the most magical moments of M&M is introduced by the complications, that you take on,
mm-hmm.
and
Indeed,
it is, and the GM having done their research and kind of can see, kind of where things are going, and no doubt has had some consultation with the player about that. Talk a little bit about that process. Like if I'm an M&M player and you're the GM, what are some of the things you would hope I would do when it comes to complications, and how I should utilize them, for the to get me one of them hero points?
Yeah, so I'm kind of the opposite of Drama Dork, where they're hoarding the points to, in case a bad thing happens. I want a bad thing to happen in exchange for a hero point.
Right.
Where I can. That's what the complications are there for. Is these are the sort of setbacks you want your character to suffer in spirit of the story that you're trying to tell with this particular character and their arc and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
So
exactly what Alex brings up is exactly what I ideally hope players will do, is lean into their characters' complications, and look for opportunities for them to come into play and suggest it. Oftentimes, because although I try to be mindful of that as game master, it's a lot to juggle, keeping track of everybody's complications. And so it's helpful when the players are like, this seems like a great moment for my complication to come into play. And absolutely, most of the time, when that comes up, I'm like, yes, let's go with that.
yeah,
And
it's kind of like
they get hero
editing the
points.
scene to earn a point, which is kind of
It is.
the
It
edit
is
the scene use, but the other way.
right. It's editing the scene to your character's disadvantage, but you're getting something for it.
Yeah, yeah, and I love that. The complications thing to me is such a great vehicle for a give a little, take a little, right?
Mhm.
And to set yourself up in a way that that is a known quantity, and really gives you an opportunity to shine. Because, like Paul says, failures can lead to some of the very best scenes, and people are
Mhm.
so scared to fail. But I find that hero points help take the sting out of it.
Yeah.
There's another person mentioned that. Ahpook mentioned using hero points as a reward or a consolation prize for plot required railroading.
Yep.
Like,
Mhm.
maybe you can do that. Yeah.
That's related to the sort of complication setback mechanic. Is every once in a while, as the game master, you have this thing that would really help the adventure along if the players would just go along with it. And every game master has had those moments where you realize you can lead a player to a plot point, but you can't make them,
That's right.
actually go through the door.
They're literally standing on the plot point, and they're like, "I'm going to open up a tavern."
Right. Like, oh, please, I beg you, like, just go through the door.
Right? Yeah.
A- and so one of the things you can do with hero points is just like, okay, you trigger the trap, and it knocks you all out. Here, have a hero point. When you wake up, we're gonna get to the fun part.
You're right. Yeah.
You know,
By hook or by crook, right? Yeah.
right?
Yeah, and I think that's the deprogramming that has to happen. Converting people to playing Mutants Masterminds is failure is not a game over state, and like in a lot of other games.
Right.
Just because you fail
Yeah.
doesn't mean the story's over, and it doesn't mean your character's going to die.
Yes, exactly that.
And if that is what it means, that should be heavily signposted.
Right. Yeah. Because it's not that potentially.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, I agree. There's a lot of conversation about that failure. In that is the surprise and opportunity to kind of add some texture and some, unforeseen branching of the story. But John asks, was there ever any alternative mechanic that was considered in place of hero points for any of the editions?
Yes, we did consider some alternative mechanics, and there were definitely versions or iterations of the earlier designs where hero points worked differently. So far as that goes, the transition, in fact, from the way hero points worked in first to second edition M&M was a pretty significant change that I think actually makes them work the way I wanted them to. Originally, you just got a pile of hero points. As part of the game, you started out here. Here are your hero points. Spend them wisely. Um, but that was not it wasn't particularly interesting, and it had a tendency to have the opposite effect of the characters being really, really effective at the beginning of the game. And as they spent their hero points towards the end of the game, they became less and less effective. And so in second edition M&M, we flipped that, and the characters actually start out with just one hero point, and they build them up over the course of the game and gain them from doing heroic things and having fun and encountering their complications and all of that, so that they have a little cushion of hero points by the end of the game. And usually it comes down to like, oh, this is the big scene, now it's time for me to spend the rest of my hero points.
Yeah,
And that was much more of the sort of comic book heroic arc that we wanted, rather than the like, oh no, I've spent all my hero points from the beginning of the game and now I'm pretty much hopeless.
And now, can you spend a hero point on behalf of on someone else's? Like, could I hero point someone in my?
In some circumstances, you
Okay.
can, and we have some fortune advantages and some other things that let you do that sort of thing. But it's not something you can do all the time.
Got you. Let me see what's going on in chat here. Well, I'm just seeing people trying to interrupt villain monologues with a hero point.
Right.
Let's see. Failures where the fun lives. I do like that. We should put that should
It
be on a
is.
T-shirt, Paul. We should make a T-shirt.
It
of that.
is.
We're gonna make 1 million impressions. Okay. Let's
All right.
see.
So we got 3 more uses of hero points.
Oh
to
yeah,
get
yeah.
through.
Oh yeah. Let's get into it. Sorry.
All
Yes.
right. So the next one's inspiration, and inspiration is kind of like edit scene, but it is all for ideas. Inspiration is that game mechanic that is for when the players are just stuck, and they're not getting it, or they really need an idea or a new direction, or it's just that challenge of playing a character who's smarter than you are. Or knows more than you do. And we can get some of that with skills and skill checks and the like. But sometimes it's one of those just idea things, and it's basically a get a clue option for hero points, where a player can say, "Hey, Game Master, I'm going to spend this hero point. Point me in the right direction of
Yet
what my
another
character should be
use
doing next."
that I've not seen, in game a lot.
Yep.
That's great. I love that
Yeah,
because
it's
I'm
because my
often
players
playing
are all
characters.
smarter than me.
I was gonna say I'm often playing a character that's meant to be smarter than I am.
Yeah,
uh,
inspiration's kind of the GM get out of jail free card if you make the plot too confusing,
Too
or
difficult or too
or they
confusing.
go
Yep.
down a weird rabbit hole and you need to get them back on track.
Right. And of course the great GM secret of it is, if that happens, you can give people a hero point and be like, please spend this on inspiration.
That's great. I love that. Okay, and so all right, that's a good one. I'm gonna mark that one because I'm often in need of inspiration in the midst of an adventure. What's the
All
other?
right. All right. So the last two, then we'll get into the sort of secret special uses of hero points.
Ooh, yes.
Instant counter is kind of a niche use of hero points, but one of those ones that could come in handy. It's when it lets you use one of your powers or abilities to try and counter someone else's immediately. Normally, to counter, you need to have a readied action, and you have to be prepared to do it. The hero point lets you do it instantly, basically to intercept something. And so you can do that cool thing that happens in the cartoons, where somebody throws a blast and you throw your blast, and the two blasts hit each other, and we decide who rolls better and wins out, and whether or not you can deflect the other guy's power. Or you use your fire powers to melt somebody's ice blast in midair, or whatever other cool countering move you come up with for that sort of a thing. Honestly, it's a great sort of boss move to pull out in a fight when a villain makes a successful attack, or something like that. And it's one of those great examples of using a hero point to defend someone else. If your friend is vulnerable, and the villain is coming in with a fire blast, and you want to be like, I am going to spend a hero point and I'm going to counter. That's a great way to jump in and defend your allies.
That is another very cool thing to remember. Yeah, I mean, I can definitely see. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
From the folks like Paul and King Snarf, yes, I absolutely allow super strong and vulnerable characters to do things like punch lightning. Absolutely.
I love it. I love that. This is Rebel says instant counter, the thing every Fire Emblem character in Super Smash Brothers spams online. That's very true. Yeah.
Yep.
That's great. That is very, very cool. Punch lightning. Okay.
And last, but certainly not least, is the recover use of hero points. And recover is a big sort of secret use of hero points that folks have a tendency to overlook sometimes. It's good for helping you shake off ongoing effects, for getting rid of some conditions, especially fatigued and dazed and stunned, which can often be kind of annoying in the midst of combat, or even a severe setback for some characters. Flying characters, for example, don't want to be stunned. That usually doesn't work out well for them.
Right. Yeah.
As Gene points out, recover. This is a great example of using a hero point to break out of mind control or some other ongoing effect that is afflicting your hero. And recover, in addition to all of that, which is great and very useful, and part of the intention of hero points is also to give characters a chance to last longer in a fight. If they have a difficult resistance check for damage, they can do improve roll to re-roll it. They can use recover to avoid some of the lesser effects of it, and it can keep them in the fight longer. So hero points are also sort of bonus hit points in a way. But one of the added sort of secret benefits of recover is because you can use recover with a hero point to eliminate fatigue. It also means that every use of extra effort, which costs you fatigue, also becomes essentially a use of a hero point. Because you just spend the hero point to get rid of the fatigue, and you get all the benefits of the extra effort in the bargain. So basically, it means all of the extra effort stuff is also things you can do with hero points.
Nice. Well, very cool. So now, in the case of that scenario, how do you evoke a role play moment from that? Like, you are no longer fatigued. It's just like one and done, or
Well, it depends on the character, but it's basically a shake it off kind of moment for me. But if somebody wants to role play it, I always encourage that.
They just want to do like a whole Rocky montage kind of thing.
Matt Murdock picks himself out of the rainy puddle and punches the ground while the blood spools out of his face and ready to fight again.
There you go. That's exactly what I was thinking, honestly. Awesome. Okay. And so now, were you saying that let me see what the chat's up to here. Griffith from Berserk basically has infinite hero points since casualty is literally on
causality.
Causality. Yes, thank you.
Yes, and it is worth briefly noting that we also use the hero point mechanics for things like probability control, where characters are essentially controlling luck, because that's kind of what they do. So the mechanics actually come in really handy for stuff like that too.
Well, okay, talk to me about how that works then. So do they just kind of come with an ascribed set of...
Well, the base effect basically gives you a bunch of bonus uses of certain aspects of hero points, mostly the improved roll ones, so that you just have an extra bunch of hero points, essentially.
Got you. I like that. And then how do they recharge if they're
same way as other hero points, pretty much every adventure.
I see.
So use them carefully.
Interesting. Very interesting. And I'm imagining they would get, sort of the standard issue, like, here's a funny, you did a funny thing, or you did a great role play, or something like that.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. I don't refresh probability control hero points quite as quickly as the regular ones because they're a power effect. But I sometimes do complications for them.
So, are you ready for a complications question?
Yeah, bring it on.
Always.
Rebel Moose says a friend posited this scenario. Player A and Player B have similar complications. For example, big fires. Players C uses edit scene to make a fire. Would player A and B get hero points for their complications?
Provided the complication affects both of them, I would say yes.
Yeah, I would suggest adding some kind of mechanical penalty
Right.
to reflect that it is causing trouble for them, and it's not just player C trying to make a situation where they can get 2 hero points for the price of 1.
Right.
That
There
you're
has to be
farming the
some
hero
kind of
points. Yeah.
right, some sort of complicating factor other than, oh no, fire.
Got it. Okay, interesting. Let's see. Other.
And throwing a -2 circumstance penalty on something is always a good tool in your box as
Yep.
an M&M GM.
Indeed.
Oh, gotcha. Now,
Or
have
if it's
we
sufficiently bad, you can give them the impaired condition and give them a -2 to everything until they overcome that.
Yes.
have we covered all of this sort of sneaky, hidden, uses?
Well, the one other thing I think that's worth mentioning, since we don't have time to go down the entire list of extra
Holy
effort
crap! I'm sorry, I didn't
abilities,
realize what time it was. Sorry.
but one thing that I tend to do with hero points is I use them for a version of success at a cost. Um, and sometimes when the player doesn't have any hero points, and they are in need of that reroll or that hero point benefit, I will say, okay, I'm going to propose that your character suffers this complication or setback as part of the action, but I'll give you a hero point so that you have a chance to succeed. So it might be like, oh, okay, this action is going to temporarily burn out or break this device because you're overloading it, but I will give you a hero point for this one action to make sure that you have a chance to succeed. That kind of thing. That's success at a cost.
Gotcha.
And that's essentially just how the hero point mechanics work anyway. It's just compressing the complication and the action and the hero point all happen at the same time.
Right.
Got it. Let's see here, and I am shocked that it's already this time. I've got so many interesting questions and ideas and things. Friends, if I want to hear stories about how hero points have kind of helped you get back from the brink of the edge of disaster, or it changed what was going on at the table in an unexpected fun way, or reasons why you received a hero point, primarily because I want more hero points, and so I'm going to steal these ideas, and then I'm going to try to use them on
use them
Alex.
shamelessly.
That's right.
Shamelessly. I do want to address Gene Caron asked if we were going to have any astonishing adventures on Roll20. They should all be on Roll20.
We do. I was just going to say.
Oh yeah, I was going to say as well. Let me know if you don't see them, because they are supposed to be there. Nate, that's a great idea as well. Nate brings up the morale keeper. It is kind of a nice way to sort of acknowledge that somebody's been a good cheerleader, or sort of help kind of keep the vibe going strong. Yeah, I love that.
Read the room though.
Right. Sometimes people want to have a little of their pathos and their their deep emotional role playing.
Right. Yeah.
They don't want to be cheered up.
Success at a cost is a great mechanic. It means that failure doesn't result in the game getting jammed or bogged down. That's right, Paul. Yeah. Excellent. Gentlemen, well, we are indeed at the end of this program. I cannot believe that we've run out of time, because I haven't even been able to get my spray art up. But
remember, shake vigorously.
That's right. That's right. And do not spray towards your face.
Do not taunt spray.
Yeah, I'm going to go crawl into the spray yard and just die.
That's where you come alive, my friend. So, Steve, what's happening in the Steve Kenson cinematic universe?
Well, as folks know, my update for Return of Shadow is now available. And I have been working, speaking of updates, on updating the archetypes from Book of Magic, for our second edition. For third edition, we have a series called Arcane Archetypes that will be coming out on the Cape and Cowl Club of the Atomic Think Tank.
Oh, yeah.
And folks who are members of the CNC Club will get them first. I imagine the Arcane Archetypes will eventually find their way onto the Green Onion store and drive through for folks in the general public. But folks of the Cape and Cowl Club will get them first, and of course, will get them as part of their membership. And we are updating all of the hero archetypes as well as the villain archetypes from Book of Magic. I've seen the first few, and they're looking really good.
Hey, did you know that that Return of Shadow made it into the hands of the Cape and Cowl Club first? Actually, some weeks ago, I think.
I did not know that, but I'm glad to hear it.
Yeah, pretty exciting stuff. Fantastic, awesome. And Alex, what's going on in your world?
Oh, stuff, things.
Stuff and things, you say?
Yes.
Hard at work getting Worlds of Valiant finished up. I have another thrilling chapter of Freedom We Dark in the Multiverse of the Master Mage coming out on Wednesday.
Yeah.
They're going to be spending some time in Freedom City, figuring out how many bad choices Bowman has made over the last couple months.
Yeah, I'm imagining quite a few.
Alex, did you tell them the news about Vigilante's Handbook? Yes, I said it.
I thought so last week, but
I think we've been kind of a little coy on that.
Hit it again. What's just that it's here?
Yeah.
Closing in.
It's in production.
It's in production right now. Yeah.
We have
folks,
a cover. There's
folks
a spot
may
online. You can go look at the cover.
Yeah, folks may have even seen the placeholder on the Green Onion online store for it, where you can go and see the super cool cover.
They did indeed. I did threaten that if they brought it up, that it would add another 6 months to the. But I couldn't do it. It was our fault, really. But oh, nice. Okay, good. I was worried that my Spravy wasn't animating, but it is. It just takes a minute. Alex, your face. I love it.
Why is it animated? It doesn't need to be animated.
Right.
What? If your Spravy isn't animated, what is it doing?
That's right. Why are you even bothering?
Right? Yeah,
it's not
exactly.
hurting me anymore.
Nobody wants congealed Spravy.
Yes. And Paul offers new Spravy Jones locker for seafood.
Oh no! That sounds like one of those like boxed dinners that you can order. That they deliver fresh to your door. Spravy Jones locker, all the gravy crab claws you would love and eat for a month. Let's see. Okay, I think that we are well and truly done. We've got what's in the tank for the next. Hey, gentlemen, thanks again. Monday's always a delight. Really enjoy hanging out with you and these ne'er-do-wells. I could not do it alone because they're really problematic. But yeah, I think that we're good to go. I will. What we're going to do right now is transition to our "What's in the Tank" segment. We'll bring up our good pal Devious, who's going to talk a little bit about that, and then we'll release you guys to your day. Thank you so much.
Bye, everybody.
Think about Spravy.
Exactly. Dream about it, you mean? Yeah,
nightmares
I can't wait to see you at Gen Con. I'm gonna come.
If you spray gravy on me while I'm in Gen Con, we'll have a problem.
I am looking forward to some kind of Spravy experience. But hey, this Sunday, Alex Thomas, the man, the myth, the gravy ambassador. I don't know, the mistaken gravy trumpeter, perhaps. He's not a fan of gravy, let's say that. Is going to be on Joy of Game Mastering, Sundays, 2 p.m. An opportunity for you to hang out, ask questions, learn something. Alex is the GM's GM, the player's pal, and if you are interested in just exploring what it means to be a GM, there's truly none better than Alex to kind of answer your questions and dispel some of the mysteries, and also give you a look behind the curtain. It's distressing. It's a distressing look because Alex is known not to wear pants. But a GM experience nonetheless. Here's what's going on this month. I can't believe it's March. But all kinds of good stuff happening. You know, we talked about the Cape and Cal Club. We've got the workshops. We've got dev chats. Stat blocks come out. We have. I don't think we're doing an actual play this month, so that may be. I may have to make this a version 2, but that's our one opportunity that we bring the Cape and Cal Club together as the cast. Last actual play was super fun. We ended up, it was an Alex special, so it was a little bit more. You always get more than you bargain for. So we did a 2-shot, 1-shot. It was a lot of fun. The mix-up poll, of course, is the challenge that is presented to Alex and Steve, where the Cape and Cal Club vote on unlikely matching of sort of locale and villain and situation, and you get a little template out of that. It's a lot of fun. I wonder what we have. Let's see here. I'm going to push this one more time, and I'm going to... Yes, we have this. This is very important. March Madness in Freeport, because it is March. It is our 25th anniversary. We are 25 years old, all of us. Collectively, we started this business fresh out the womb. But March Madness in Freeport is a bundle. It's a collection, and it says on sale for $74.99, and that's a lie. It's not $74.99. It's like $45 now. As a little birthday gift, a little anniversary celebration, it is $49.99. That is literally the same deal. All of those 71 digital files, which include player's guide, the bestiary, return to Freeport. There's some EPUB e-reader books and things. We've got but the list is far too long. If you really want to get a piece of history, you're going to want to visit the link that I'm dropping in chat, and that will take you right to where you need to go. And let's see, what have I got here? Oh, right, we talked about the Cape and Cal Club. It's $8 a month, but if you do it by the year, you get 2 free months. And right now, and only through March, because it's going away here shortly, a free introductory month where you get to hang out and kind of see all the good stuff and have some fun with it. And try before you buy. But yeah, good stuff. Now, I would like to talk very slow until I get to the right thing where I do this.
What's in the tank?
I love it. Let's see. Let me get that lovely mug. Devious.
Hi.
The one, the only.
There are 12 of us actually. It's a large family. Mom and dad were very intimate for long periods of time, and there's just a smattering of us.
It makes a lot of sense because you seem so fresh.
Exactly. It's a different me every time. So that's how I do that. So.
Nice. No, every time or just 12 times in a row?
Well, yeah, we take, a month-long vacation in between, and,
oh, wow,
it's
yeah.
kind of nice. Yeah.
That is very nice. Very nice. I would like that. I would like that. I think I would want 12 of me as well.
Yeah, it's like an orphan black situation kind of thing.
Nice. I worry that it would be 12 times the procrastination, and it's pretty powerful. That's a pretty powerful power that I have.
I too am a mighty procrastinator. I can, I was thinking of starting up a procrastinators club, but I figure I'd do it tomorrow.
Yeah, that's probably best. It's probably best. You want to rush stuff?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So,
well, plus we've got this going on right now, which is what's in the tank.
What? Hi, everybody. It's What's in the Tank time. Let's go straight to What's in the Tank. March 9th, 2025. That was yesterday I put this out. And I did a smattering, if you will, I say, of articles for the tank. I did do one on how to run an epic one-shot Mutants Masterminds game based upon the work of, let me find that gentleman. Sorry about the delay. Limithron.
Oh, we like this
together how to run a one-shot tips, and this is another one of my Grand Theft article things where basically I listened to a video done by one of the D&Ders, and I think, how can this be modified to bring it into Mutants and Masterminds, to give Mutants Masterminds examples specifically. So that's one of the articles. The Culinary Crew and Foodie Foes was done by the incomparable Big Nate. He basically put in Gravy Squatch and Friends. So, Spider-Man and Friends, but Gravy Squatch in Friends. We have Captain Hollandaise, Salsa Inferno, the Mayonator, the Balsamic Phantom, Teriyaki Terra, Baron Dijon, Gumbo Goon, and Frenchy Fry, just to name them.
I like that. No, so now I
Mhm.
don't. Do we include Gravy Squatch in there? I mean, I think Gravy Squatch was already done.
Yeah, Gravy Squatch is already done. These are like his friends. Poutine
Yeah,
Lab,
yeah.
Power, Slippery Surface Creation, Gravy and Cheese Cards. Good. Super durability. That's the thick cut fry armor and
As in,
ability
yeah,
to
for sure.
regenerate from eating poutine. So what
Yeah.
more can you ask for there? I did a new GM challenge, plot hook challenge. The shadow market, a mysterious market, has cropped up. And basically, you as the GM need to answer a few questions about it.
I like
Basically,
this.
why is the shadow market around? How are they giving people powers? And what is the cost for those powers? I put together basically the basics or the pitch for it, but you as the GM need to fill in the blanks. Why is this happening? What's the background behind it?
Cool.
Now, also, we have in here, I'm going back and looking at previous articles that I've done and kind of going, well, I don't feel this same way about these things anymore, or I kind of see my errors. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to remaster them and bring them to the fore. I am going to be concentrating on some hero point articles I've done in the past and bring
Yeah.
those back. I did House Rules 1, Environmental Factors, using the world around you and M&M, and basically using those for bonuses and different things you can use, and spend a hero point to gain a temporary power based on the item in the environment, like
Ooh.
fire hose or something like that.
Wait, so would you get a fire hose power?
Well, if there is, the GM has already mentioned that there's a fire hose there, you can basically say, you know what, the guy's electricity, can I use it to, this fire hose to short him out? Can I hose him down? Can that, have an effect on him? And spend a hero point. Yeah, we can go ahead and do that.
I like it. I like
Yeah.
it.
I did 2 items on basically building characters. One of them is a little thing I call Hero Web, and it's a relationship building mini game. It's based on Fiasco. One second, let me see if I can find it. Sorry about the delay.
No worries.
Here you go. It's based on Fiasco, basically, where the players roll on 3 separate tables, and that gives them 3 separate links. And then they do a round of collaboration and negotiation with their fellow players to find out, hey, can I link this to you? I do an example basically where there are 4 players. They each wind up basically with a link between them all by the end of the game. Different things like relationships, key connections, shared elements, little things like that can basically help you build not only your character background and personality, but also how you're linked to your fellow players as well. There are some improv and writing exercises that I went into and how
Oh,
to
I like that.
utilize those into making your characters backstory and links with each other, like the superhero interview, a game of tough questions, where an in-depth 60-minute style discussion where the players answer questions as their character, like, who's your greatest enemy? What was your greatest triumph? What was your greatest failure?
I like
Basically.
that. I really do enjoy anything that sort of helps people get their role play chops chopping.
Yeah, it's definitely good, pretty good article. I enjoyed writing it. I think it's a good idea to utilize, especially in your session 0, some of these games. And then I did a while back on GM's Day, I did celebrating GM's Day, 7 ways to thank your game master, because a lot of times people say it's a thankless job. So why not thank them? There's different ways you can do it. And the most fundamental is just say thank you. Say, heartfelt, I appreciate you putting this together, because it takes a lot of effort to do. You can bring them snacks, be an engaged player, help with game logistics, create session summaries or character journals, and gift them something cool, or run a game for them.
You
Little
know
things
what?
that you can do
I
to help
love
them
that
out.
idea.
Mhm.
But you like gift them something cool.
Yeah.
Head over to the Green Ronin online store.
There you go. Good
Give them
idea.
something good.
Yeah.
Cabot Crossing Publishing
What?
says looks very cool. You know, hey, that reminds me to remind
Mhm.
everybody that if you have yet to stake your claim to your membership over at the Atomic Think Tank, all you have to do is go to atomicthinktank.com, and all the things that we're talking about here, all the resources, that's just one facet of the entire thing. We've got homebrew stuff going. We've got age stuff going. We've got age stuff for all the titles that are released. We've got a homebrew section that is just cooking. Swan May is out there just killing it, just doing such a great job. Swan May and Paul and
Mhm.
a couple other folks really helping kind of lead the charge there. All you have to do is go to atomicthinktank.com. Yes, you answer 3 very simple questions. They're
Super simple. Very
yeah, we just want to make sure that you're a human being. And here's the other beautiful thing. We've said it many times, and we mean it every time. You can lurk. It's okay.
Absolutely.
We're not gonna force you to to do a song and dance. But I've heard from a couple lurkers who say, "Hey, I usually am a lurker." That it's the community's friendly. We're not playing any of those other silly games where there's a bunch of folks in here sort of lording over the information and keeping it from people, or making you do some kind of ridiculous sort of, I don't know what, you know what I'm
Yeah,
talking
no
about,
gatekeepers. You're
Yeah,
welcome. Bring it on in.
yeah, absolutely. And here's one thing I will say to folks. Um, we're talking about thanking GMs, but there are those people that are doing stuff, writing these articles like Devious is doing. We've got people putting together and sharing interesting tables, and of course developing stat blocks and other cool stuff. Give them a little like, react to it.
Yeah.
Give it a little heart. You don't have to write them a soliloquy. You don't have to buy them a gift. I mean, that would be nice. But you really, all you need to do is
I
just click that little heart, and
I am registered at Saks Fifth Avenue. Just saying.
nice.
Yeah.
Did you say you're wanting a like a saxophone?
Exactly. Saxophone, definitely.
Yeah.
Or bagpipe, either way.
You
Just
struck me as
something that,
more of a trombonist,
well, there you go. I am a
but
trombonist.
okay, yeah,
But
all
that's
right.
my secret life.
Du-du-du-du-du-du-du.
There you go. Finally, I just want to mention one more article. Overcoming game master anxiety in Mutants Masterminds. There's a lot of great people out there that love world building, but they have anxiety about interacting with people. They embrace some misconceptions about it has to be perfect, it has to be just right. Basically, there's a few steps you can do, and this is another one of my Grand Theft article series. GM Philosopher, fantastic YouTuber, definitely check him out on YouTube. Has a lot of great information, but I listened to one of his videos, what if I'm a bad dungeon master, on how to deal with dungeon master anxiety, and this applies it to Mutants and Masterminds. But enough about my articles. We've got Steinbrewer bringing it in. Each one of his Aegis files is not
Yeah,
just one character. It's 5 or 6.
it is. Would you click through? Would you show?
Sure, no problem. One moment.
Sorry, I got a little Spravey on the screen.
I understand it. You get excited. Basically, this one's got 7 in it, and these are the solo good guys of Earth 49, volume 18, meaning that there are 17 before this, each with a multiple characters in there. Not only that, I mean, he's also providing the files for Hero Lab here. You download the archive, you can open it up in Hero Lab, modify it to your heart's content for your own game, bring them in and use them. Basically, really, really good background personality on each one as well. Gives the stat block so you can peruse that before downloading. Fantastic work. Thank you very much, Steinbrewer. Excellent job.
Nice, very nice.
Yeah. And he's got not only good guys, but of course the bad guys, the not so nice guys.
They
as
look
well.
great. Yeah.
Absolutely. So definitely worth checking out.
Just absolutely fantastic. Now, this King Snarf is mentioning that a concern for Matt, a concern for Matt Mabray.
I know.
Worried? Is he not feeling well? Or
I
we better hunt
know.
him down.
He does probably have a real life to deal with, but if I don't see him next week, I am going to start wondering. if he's okay. I hope he chimes in
Yeah.
and let us know. But
Yes. But
one
thank you,
thing,
King Snar, for keeping us on the, making sure that we are on the lookout for Matt Mabray. Let me know, King Snarf, if you should happen to bump into him.
absolutely. I do want to mention this Wednesday. I don't know what to do, Troy.
Huh?
I am bewildered.
Huh?
I have too much to choose from.
Oh, no. A
I
Wednesday
know.
jam-packed with choice?
I know. We've got Superhero Shenanigans issue 4 on Don't Kill My Character on Twitch.
Love that.
Also, RC Beeler's Tales from the Mayhemverse.
I
The
love it.
veil is thin. It's also, and just hanging out with you on Wednesday night is
Look at that
something I
five
love
head.
doing as well. That's right. Well,
I'm
no,
embodied.
gorgeous 5-head. I would gladly rent that out for a billboard space. It's gorgeous. I have a 6-head,
Yes.
mind you, but yeah, the receding. I don't have a receding hairline. I have an exceeding forehead. That's the way I like to think of
I
it.
see.
But
I
of
see, I
course,
see.
we've got all the little articles. We do the feature articles just to summarize what each one is. See if you want to check it out. I put 3 articles in there. That's what's in the tank this week.
Oh,
How did that get there?
what?
I'm sorry. That's what I meant to show you. Mutants Masterminds Astonishing Adventures Return of Shadow. It's in the shop. What?
It is indeed. It's ready for you. Remastered for the future.
Future.
Lovely.
An echo in here?
What was that?
Was there an echo in here?
Yeah, there generally is. It's when I get my empty noggin too close to the speakers. It sort of
Okay. I see how it is.
sound just ricochets through and through. You know what I might also share? Because I don't normally toot my own horn, as it were. I mean, not in public.
Right.
But we have a good friend that stops by every once in a while, and often will like a I don't know, like an Easter bunny will leave
Mhm.
behind little droplings of art and illustration and such. And of course, I'm talking about our buddy Stan. Well, there's this sport out there, and it's called sumo. And
Mhm.
I wasn't a fan. I always thought it was kind of sort of kitschy, funny, sort of like, oh, let's put on the big rubber suit or whatever, and the big
Mhm.
wig helmet, and bounce off your friends at some kind of corporate retreat as you were being entertained. But
Mhm.
no, there's a whole thing going on with sumo, and for 3 years I've been doing something called the Sumo Show.
Oh, wow.
And what's wild about sumo is that it has been around for thousands of years.
Ooh.
I know, right? And we go into the nitty gritty. We tell you all that. No, what we do is we actually talk about what's going on in sumo, and it's a little personal, fun project of mine. Just something different than the usual. Come by and check it out. You can go to youtube.com/@sumo show, and you'll see our past episodes. I'm just buddied on there as well, but we have a lot of fun. Poor Stan has put up with my brand of humor for some time now. So yeah, go check it out. Give us a follow on the YouTube so you can be notified when we go live. We're going live now because we are in a new basho, which is sort of like a season. And this is the spring basho, and we're just starting. So stop by and check it out.
Definitely worth a check. I've checked it out. I've enjoyed the show when I watched it. Definitely.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a good time. And we are just bouncing back from the NHK, which is the company that owns the Japanese, the sort of like the Japanese PBS, if you will, like public broadcasting. They deleted our whole YouTube account.
What?
All 3 years worth deleted.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we've started over, and we're kind of doing it again, rebuilding all of our connections, and so that helps. Yeah.
Excellent.
Cool. Anything else for the good of the order, my friend?
Not to my knowledge. I think we've gone over everything that's currently in the tank this week. We do have a few new articles in there. Nate has put in a new one. Definitely go check out the Villain Origin Randomizer.
Ooh.
Ooh.
I love it. Thank you, everybody. Always a blast, Devious. Thank you so much for sharing all the good things that are in the tank. And it's time for us to go. And I say goodbye.
Bye bye.